Welcome back, dreamers, to another episode about, well, you guessed it, dreams. So, in this episode, we're going to be talking about, well, when you dream about potentially something that can be precognitive about people's intentions towards you. As you all know, yes, there are people that can have precognitive dreams, and it isn't just limited to, well, like just certain events in life, but it can be more specific towards people that are around you, and it can be a warning. And there are times where you have to, of course, discern whether or not it is actually about that specific person, if it could be a reflection of yourself. That is something that you do have to discern and use your reasoning skills on. Of course, like after you wake up, but of course, main thing to do and to help with that kind of discernment is to journal it down, and then, you know, just really be observant of your surroundings and just watching, like, or just, you know, examining, like, kind of with, of course, logical and reasoning mind afterwards, like, okay, are these behaviors like matching up in any way of what I've been dreaming? And then also, like, pay attention to how you feel in your gut at the same time. So, of course, when we're like in reality, like as we're awake, and most of the time, like as we're awake and in reality, we are operating with our conscious mind, the rational, like thinking mind. Not a lot of us are constantly running through like our subconscious mind, like in the deeper level, which is working with the intuitive mind. The subconscious mind is like it's always like reading in between the lines. It's like capturing the scenes that you aren't really seeing behind the scenes of what's really going on, because it's like working with the intuition and like and it's also like processing like the emotions that you're feeling throughout the day, like as those moments are happening, like certain actions that people are taking, events that are going on throughout day to day. And of course, with the conscious mind, as you're operating from the conscious mind, it's only getting mostly like the surface layer. You're just going to be like analyzing like mostly like the top layer of everything that's going on, which, I mean, still can be good in a sense. Like, it still can be useful, of course, like, because once are thinking back on like the dream and how you have been feeling emotionally about it, like in your gut, then like I said before, you can then like think with the rational mind, like, how is this matching up? You know, kind of like solving a puzzle. And that, of course, is like more of like the rational thinking mind. And some people, yeah, they relate it to whether it's the left, working with the left, or the right brain. And of course, the right brain is the creative mind. And I believe that the creative mind is tapped into and connected with the subconscious mind, where we have our intuitive abilities. So this shows up in our dreams. So let's say, for instance, that, like, you know, just like you are interacting like day to day with people, you know, in real life, and everything, of course, not all of us, like I said, are like using that intuition constantly if we don't feel the need to. But like if we're just talking to someone, they seem pretty normal, and I mean, most of us, we do kind of put on a front if we're nervous around people. That's normal, you know. But there are certain people that purposely put on a front because they're like trying to hide certain things that they may be intending towards you, and you may not catch on to it with the rational thinking mind right away, because it's hard to catch. So then you dream that night and you're like, yeah, this person seemed pretty normal, and then all of a sudden you like start dreaming of them like doing something terrible to you. You have like a nightmare about them. You're like, what happened? Like, this person doesn't seem like they would do something like that. Well, in that moment, you know, if you feel the need to, like, write it down. I mean, I recommend just writing down your dreams in general, recording them, because it does help you recall your dreams. And I believe it can also, like, since it's working with that side of your brain, the creative mind and the subconscious mind, it can help increase your intuition by doing so. So definitely, like, journal that dream down, and then just, like, start reasoning with it then afterwards. Like, you know, because yeah, we don't want to just right away just jump into it right off the bat, just being like, oh my god, like, you know, of course, like, don't be accusatory, like going out to the person like, you know what, and I don't think people would normally do that, but just like all of a sudden say, you know what, I had a dream you were doing this, is that something you would really do? Like, you know, like, you don't want to already like start like working just from there, just off of, because then that can just be more so like just an assumption. You have to let it settle more, and whether it's like you want to feel it more in the heart space, or just, you know, like while you're meditating and just working with it from there with the intuitive mind, just really thinking about it for a while, letting it settle more, because it's probably, and I'm not saying this to be negative, it's probably not going to be the only time. If they really have bad intentions, it's probably not going to be the only time that you're going to have that kind of dream. So when it starts getting repetitive and it's like a specific kind of behavior, sometimes it may show up at different things, like toxic traits, behaviors that this person has, and like there's something that are very serious, and then it's like directed at you. If it's repetitive, then that could be a warning, and you need to start like looking, how is that being represented in reality? You know, like, I know it's sometimes hard to tell like right away if it's like really about that person, because yes, I do also believe that I've had someone comment like how, and I agree with that, but how our dreams are already a reflection of ourselves and our subconscious mind. Yes, I agree with that. We are the dreamer, so it's gonna be about us most of the time, but we cannot also negate that there are people that have precognitive, psychic, intuitive abilities that catch on to certain things that the rational thinking surface layer mind is not going to detect. So we can't completely negate that, because, you know, this can be ways of protecting us. And dreams are not the only mediums of doing that, of course. Some people use tarot cards, some people just meditate, and, you know, that's just as good. For me personally, it's been mainly through dreams. I would dream about people, like, and not intentionally, it would just happen out of nowhere. It's like, I didn't want to dream that, of course. I don't want to dream of someone doing something terrible to me, but it would just come out of nowhere, and then it would just like be reflected in reality. I'm like, oh well, too late. You know, and then I had to learn over time as that happened, okay, I need to start really paying attention to this. When should I start taking action on it? And most of the type of action that I've been taking, of course, is just like, I'll just suddenly, I'm gonna be honest, ghost the people. I don't talk to them. That's my way of like setting the boundary, like, no. Because I feel like if you talk that out with them, and depending on like, you know, what their intentions are, you don't know what they're gonna do if you just go up to them like blasting them out like that, like in their face. You don't know what's gonna happen. And so me personally, I just cut them out, ghost them. So I'm just gotta let you know that. So everybody's gonna do it differently, but anyway, that's not the main thing that I wanted to talk about. Everybody's gonna lay down their boundaries differently. We're talking about dreams. But yeah, so anyway, so yeah, some people, like, with having these kind of intentions, I mean, yeah, I'm pretty sure they're aware in that moment, but there are some people that are probably unconscious, and it doesn't like excuse their behavior in reality at all. But I'm just saying that probably another reason why it would show up in your dream of this person, if it is really about them and nothing about yourself, then it's probably something that like they are unconscious of. It's just like automatic, like certain behaviors, and they're not like thinking consciously of like how they're affecting you. And so then it's like, and this is how I perceive it, people may perceive it differently, I believe like their astral self, like will, I guess you could say astral self, I don't know if I'd say higher self, one of those, I don't know, one and the same, will show up in your dream. You know, it's like their spirit self or something. I know I'm coming up with different terms for it, but you may have your own. So I'm just like listing different ones, but they'll show up in your dream kind of to reveal that to you. It's like kind of like calling themselves out, so that way it's like, I don't know if I want to say like help them. In a way it is helping them, of like when you start taking action, setting those boundaries with them, depending on what that is, like whether it's like you do talk it out with them, because like if it is showing up in reality what you dreamt of those behaviors that you don't like, then yeah, it's like you're setting boundaries. Hey, you know, I don't like these, you know, or like how you're treating me and you're doing this and that, but if that also depends if they're going to become consciously aware of it, but in that way it might help them. But then of course also, like I said earlier, it can prevent something way worse from happening, and just, you know, find a way to like cut yourself off from that, because it was a way of like protecting you. But yeah, it's like they were revealing themselves, so it was like it was revealing like this alter ego, this hidden layer that the subconscious mind was catching on to, like reading in between lines of what was there, of what was going on. Like I've had dreams personally, like I'll just share some like as examples, like they are really personal, so I'm definitely not gonna name names, but I've dreamt of things like I've dreamt of, and sometimes they're not literal, so that's why I definitely want to share these as examples, because this may not always be literal, but still it could be a behavior that's, of course, you're gonna be like, yeah, no, I don't want to tolerate that. But like I would dream about people choking me, and I've had that several times, like where in my dream, like I would actually see them choke me. I actually had one like repetitively, and the person was always showing up as someone else, but I knew who it was. And so in one case, it, you know, was just about like someone just trying to block me. Pretty much it had to just do with my throat chakra, and it was just having to deal with someone just blocking me from speaking. They wouldn't let me speak. And so it would show up later on in reality where they would do that. Or one would be like where I was singing and one didn't want me to be like the singer, and I would all of a sudden, like, you know, before like that happened though, like where they were showing that kind of behavior outwardly, like I dreamt of them all of a sudden just like tackling me to the ground and like choking me, and I'm like, what the heck? And like, you know, and it was like, you know, in the dream I was like holding a microphone like la 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 la, and all of a sudden like you know, I'm like, whoa, okay. And that was like in the dream, and then in real life it wasn't that dramatic. Like it was just like where they constantly wanted to take the microphone, and I kind of sensed intuitively as that was happening, like, you know, there could have been like just some competitiveness or jealousy. So honestly, like with that person, it wasn't like anything like too severe in reality, and nothing that I couldn't talk out with them. I actually instead was like more helpful, of just like, hey, you know, I sense that you just want your own moment to shine. You can have that, like, you know, because it was more of like to be friendly environment where it's like, yeah, I don't think there should just be one singer, but yeah, you don't want to like act a certain way to where you start showing like, you know, there's competitiveness. So anyway, it would be like symbolic. And you know, the other one, yeah, it was like where they didn't want me to like be in a leader position speaking, so then they started like wanting to take more control. And another example is where, so I do want to mention this, because I know, like I said, like sometimes this can get confusing. I know, like, yes, we of course know ourselves better than most people know us, and yeah, there might be some things, just like I was saying earlier, with other people when we dream of, we may not be aware of certain things about ourselves that are suppressed. But if like you dream of something that someone else is like doing in your dream, like another identity comes through and it's like, doing certain things to you, like, you know, like, you would never do to a living being, then that can more likely, like, be a forewarning about people around you and their intentions. But if you do feel like it's something about you and it's trying to get your attention, then it could just be, like, reflecting things that you could be projecting onto other people. But usually it's gonna show it as you already doing that kind of behavior in your dream if you are like that. Most of the time, that's what I believe anyway. But if it does show up in another identity, then yeah, it's probably just to, like, help someone, like, heal something in that sense, in that moment, because then it gives them that experience. Okay, this is how it feels, like, you know, treating people that way. Now I know how it feels. So, but it's especially, like I said, it's especially, like, when it's someone, yeah, you can get, like, I'm sure, like, way ahead of time, like, a forewarning of someone you haven't even met yet, that could be their intention. There are people that have very psychic abilities in that sense, like clairvoyancy. But if it's someone you already know, especially, and they keep showing up in your dream and they're doing certain things and you're like, okay, yeah, what's going on here? Then yeah, like, really reflect on that. So I guess that's just kind of like the basis of it. It's just always, like, write it down, reflect on it, feel it in your gut, and observe, like, what's happening in reality. So I was trying to think, like, what I was saying earlier, because I know I felt like I probably went on a tangent, but I'm thinking, did I go over everything? I'm sorry. I sometimes still have to look at my notes because that's just how my brain works. Oh yeah, so I don't know if I got through, like, what I was saying earlier. I get, like, really scatterbrained, like, as I'm talking, and I have to be like, wait a minute, did I cover everything that I was, like, trying to cover in that moment? But yeah, so if yeah, we were talking earlier about, like, an opportunity. Okay, so like I was saying, with whenever someone, like, shows up and, like, you know that's, like, someone else's behavior that you're being warned about, the other way that could be helping ahead of time is because, like, it's also preventing you from going through another karmic cycle, like, actually, like, both of y'all really, and it's, like, time to close that out. Yeah, so, and it is also, like, again, it's also teaching us valuable lessons about how to set healthy boundaries, because yeah, we do have to learn, like, what behaviors can we tolerate, what should we not tolerate, you know, because, like, sometimes we can, like, unknowingly, like, just let people, like, take our energy, or, like, you know, mistreat us in a way, and sometimes we have to start becoming really aware, like, okay, was that okay, or was that something that was really disrespectful? And yeah, but anyway, so I'm trying to think if I did cover all of that. Okay. Yeah, I think I did cover pretty much everything. Yeah, so I mean, I feel like a lot of times our dreams can be like teachers. Pretty much everything that we discussed. Oh, and I know this can be kind of running into a different topic, but, and I'll like definitely discuss that more later, but this kind of does go into symbolism as well. So there are times like where I'll dream, for instance, of like when to let someone go, and it'll be because like there might be behaviors that I wasn't aware of before and then they start showing up in the dream. But along with that, I'll usually dream of, and I don't know if everybody dreams of it in this way, but that's what it usually means for me. But I'll usually dream of, I mentioned it before, like a hangnail, and it's like I gotta pull it out, and at times it'll actually like show that person there as that's happening, like as I'm like pulling that hangnail out, or there was like this weird looking string that was down in my finger, and I had to like pull it out, and it was like really slow, long, painful process, and it would show that person there as I'm doing that. So that was like another way of showing of like, yeah, you shouldn't be hanging around those people anymore. But to be honest, like, you know, sometimes I'll get that before I realize, like I said before, some of us like realize, and like I didn't realize, like things that could have been toxic or maybe intentions that those people have that you couldn't have been aware of yet until later, until it started showing you. Because in that case, that was actually with, and like I said, I'm not going to name any names, but it was people, yeah, that's why it showed me it like that, because it was really hard to let them go. I actually like really still wanted to be connected to them, but then I was getting certain messages over and over again, like 3 or 4 times in a row. Like I said, if they're repetitive, please pay attention to them. If they are, definitely start reflecting on them at that point. But it just kept showing the same thing over and over again, the theme of like stealing. Like, so it, you know, it could have been symbolic of maybe just stealing energy, but like it kept showing me like actually like trying to steal things from me, like either stealing like projects that I was working on, or yeah, just like stuff that was lying around, like they were like stealing that, and it kept showing that to me. And so, and then I would see like, yeah, pulling out the hangnail and pulling out the string from my finger, and I was like, okay, I get it, like these are people that I have to let go. And you'll probably even get like weird like experiences in like real life. I know there's a better word for than weird. It's just I didn't know like the best word for like a spiritual, yeah, like a spiritual experience like in real life that relates to it. And that's definitely when your spirit guides or angels, whatever you believe in, like really try to get the message through, like you need to listen to these dreams. Because I did still have a hard time like listening to it even then, even though I was getting this intuition about it, and you know, it was just like constantly like I was getting those dreams, I was doubting it, and I was like, yeah, but I'm still not sure. These people, they don't seem like they would actually do these things. And so I was like, actually, right as soon as I was about to text them, and I wasn't going to say anything about the dreams, but I was just going to text them in journal. I was about to text them, and my brother like literally called me right then and there. Like, no joke. I was just about to text them. My brother called me because they were coming through like, hey, you need to listen. He called me and he said, hey, God put this in my heart. Whatever you're about to do not do it. He's like, I don't know where this is coming from, but you should not do what you're about to do. Like, he was very adamant about that. And I was just shocked because I was like, I've been having some weird feelings about them, and I don't know why other than the dreams I've been having. And then that happens. I was like, okay, it's time to listen. So yeah, like I said, I know it sounds like I'm beating around the bush. Just write down your dreams, pay attention to the waking reality, meditate on the things that you're dreaming about, just so you can make sure you're having clarity of whether or not these warnings that are showing up in your dream, or like of these behaviors, are about the people around you. Be very discerning after you wake up from your dream, and just let that intuition do its work, and feeling it, just really feeling it in the body, like through the emotions, as you're observing like what's happening in the reality of whether or not these people's actions are really reflecting that dream. Oh, and that was the other thing that I was going to talk about that I don't think I mentioned. Like I said, I'm scatterbrained at times. That's why I need to have like a noteboard in front of me or something so I can remember. I'm going to get better at this. So sorry. Please be patient with me. Yeah, that was the other thing, and this is, I'm sure, like a rare case. So there was something, there is an example that I can use, but first I'll just say, sometimes you'll actually, like, if you dream about something that, someone you already know, and yeah, again, it could be someone you haven't met yet, you're about to meet, and if that person, like, matches the person you had in your dream, and you saw those kind of, intentions or behaviors towards you, and then, yeah, I mean, still reflect on that. But, yeah, if it's, like, either which way, like, and they come into your dream, someone you haven't met yet, and then you meet them later, someone you already know, and they come into your dream and they're having, like, or showing these behaviors, toxic behaviors, and then all of a sudden in waking life, you actually witness an incident. It's not that person that you dreamt about, but you witness an incident, or you hear about an incident that matches that, like what you dreamt about, but it's a different person than what the one you dreamt about that you already know or have met at that point, and it's a different person that it happened to, or a different person that did that same or enacted that same kind of behavior. It could still be showing you like a reflection of that, to also pay attention to that person you already know, that it could be warning you, hey, this person has that same kind of toxic trait that you might need to pay attention to. And so the best way I feel like I can explain it is by giving an example, because I don't know if that really made it clear enough. So again, staying away from naming any names. There was like a hostage situation in real life, and this one person that I kept dreaming about beforehand, that I was like hanging out with a lot. Now, I didn't experience anything to that extreme, but it was trying to protect me from it. I don't know if it was ever going to get to that point, but I think it was protecting me to keep it from getting to that exaggerated point. But I had someone that I kept hanging out with, and I kept getting bad dreams about them over and over again. It was showing like that they were like very possessive, and there was like this one dream like where they're like holding me down a lot, or they're very like stalkish in my dreams, but most of the time it was like I got like this possessive vibe, like they couldn't let anyone else have me, or they just get like extremely jealous, and that was like showing up in my dreams, even though they weren't like showing a lot of that kind of type of behavior as it was showing in the dream in reality. But there was actually one that I dreamt before that real incident happened. I actually dreamt of that person doing that they were trying to keep me hostage in their house. So I had that dream, and all of a sudden, like, I think it wasn't until like a week or two later, I heard about an incident where someone was like in a hostage situation, and I was like, but I dreamt about this person that I already know, like, doing that to me, but then it ended up happening to someone else. Well, when I was actually like at their house and nothing bad happened, and of course, yeah, you deal with people that gaslight, and they're like, oh no, I wasn't gonna do anything, and you still get some kind of weird vibe. But like, I went over to their house one day, and I just felt very weird about it. Like, they took me to the room, and without warning, I mean, yeah, they're like, yeah, I don't want them to disturb us, and I'm like, who do you not want to disturb us? It just still felt weird because, anyway, but like when you like lock the door, that insinuates something regardless of what it is, like, and if there's not much explanation, no warning, because like that's what they did. They were just like leading me through the house, took me into the room, and I'm like, yeah, I don't want anyone to disturb us, let's just go back here. Closes the door, lock, and I'm like, what? You know, what was that? And you know, like, all he did was like meditate, nothing happened, but I was getting like this like trapped feeling, and I didn't like it. So I feel like it was trying to show me like, hey, there's some red flags here. You really need to pay attention to it. And I stopped hanging out with that person after that. I was like, yeah, nope, done. So anyway, so that's like an example. Like that again can be something that's like trying to warn you that they might have similar toxic behaviors or intentions towards you if something like that happens. So anyway, that ends this video. So I hope you learned something valuable from this. Dream on, dreamers. This is Orchid Lotus signing off.